Good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to connect with you again on this Wednesday. This next Sunday, as you know, we're gonna continue with our study on the Lord's Prayer, which is the prayer that Jesus taught his disciples, and we're progressing through this prayer. And this week, we're going to be looking at the phrase, "And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil." So I want to read a little bit from James on a few of his thoughts. James, this would be the brother of Jesus. James says in verse 13, starting in verse 13, chapter 1, James 1:13, and I'll read through 18 here. When tempted, means it's going to happen, right? When tempted, no one should say, "God is tempting me." For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each one is tempted when by his own evil desires, when we rest in our own humanness, our own human desires. But each one is tempted when by his own evil desires he is dragged away and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it's full grown, gives birth to death. Don't be deceived, my dear brothers. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. He chose to give us birth through the word of truth, that we might be a kind of first fruits of all he created. So this goes back to this desire and the importance of running through this prayer in the order that Jesus taught us, with looking first and early on in this prayer at connecting our desire with his desire, our will, making not our will, putting it aside and letting God's will come. And so this is James is saying the same piece as well, that when we rest in our own desire, temptation gives birth to sin, sin gives birth to death. But when we rest in the will of God, we become a first fruits of all that is good that comes from him. Another piece that we're going to look at is, temptation can be more subtle than this forgiveness piece that we looked at last week. But temptation, it kind of works its way up through the rest of this prayer as well. And so we're going to be looking at some of the ways at which temptation tries to deceive us, tries to grab us, tries to hold on to our human desires instead of living into the desires and will of God. So I hope you all be able to join us again this Sunday, either in person. We start at 9:30 in person. You can join us online at any time. We will be live streaming at 9:30 as well, so you can join us then, or anytime you might be able to join us and find our services online. You can find us on Facebook, or you can find us on our website at olivemc.org. Be well, my friends, and hope you have a wonderful close to the week.